Let's go back in time. It's 1912. You're a book dealer named Wilfred Voynich, and you're digging through old texts in a dusty Italian college library. And then you find it. A manuscript unlike anything you've ever seen. The script is beautiful, elegant, but it's an alphabet that just doesn't exist. The pages are filled with these incredible drawings, plants that look like they're from another planet, strange star charts, weird biological diagrams. For over a century since you found it, and for 600 years since it was made, it has stayed one of the greatest puzzles in history.
I mean, really, does any quote capture it better than this? It sums up the beautiful frustration of the Voynich Manuscript perfectly. You look at it, and it feels like it holds some kind of profound knowledge, but it just slams the door in your face every single time. It's a lock with no key, a message with no decoder ring. And believe me, everyone has tried, from the best codebreakers of World War II to, yes, even the FBI, and they've all come up empty.
So what is actually in this thing that has driven everyone crazy? Well, the book seems to be broken up into sections, and each one is weirder than the last. You've got this huge botanical section, but good luck identifying any of the plants. They don't seem to exist on Earth. Then there are the astronomical pages. Zodiac symbols, sure, but they're surrounded by these rings of bathing women. And then you get to the biological parts, which are just strange diagrams of interconnected tubes and things that kind of look like organs. And every single bit of it is described in that gorgeous, completely baffling script we call Voynichese.
Okay, so with a mystery this big, the theories get pretty wild. Is it an alien guidebook? A super secret alchemical text? A really, really elaborate medieval prank? Before we dive down those rabbit holes, let's just take a breath and ground ourselves in what science can actually tell us for sure, because we do know a few things.
Now, this book has a history, even if it's got some big gaps. We can trace its ownership back to the 1600s. A doctor in Prague sent it off to Rome, hoping some brilliant Jesuit scholar could finally figure it out. Spoiler alert, he couldn't. Then, poof, it vanishes for a couple hundred years, until our man Wilfred Voynich stumbles upon it in 1912. And today, you can go look at the whole thing yourself, page by page, thanks to Yale University's online library.
So this date range right here, this is probably the single most important clue we have. In 2011, scientists did radiocarbon dating on the book's parchment, the animal skin its pages are made from, and they found with 95% confidence that the vellum was made in the early 15th century. Now, this one scientific fact was a bombshell. It just blew so many theories out of the water, like the idea it was a modern forgery by Voynich himself. Nope, this thing is the real deal. It's genuinely old.
All right, so we know it's from the 1400s. That's locked in. Now the real debate can start. What is the writing? All the arguments, all the research, it really boils down to three main camps. Is it all just an elaborate, meaningless hoax? Is it a known language like Latin, just hidden in a really clever code? Or is it a real, actual language that's just been completely lost to time?
So let's talk about the hoax theory, because it's tempting. This book wasn't cheap to make. It's high-quality vellum, expensive pigments, the kind of thing you'd create if you were a con artist trying to sell a book of secrets to a rich, gullible duke. Makes sense, right? But here's the problem. The text, it has structure. It follows complex statistical patterns, like something called Zipf's law. Basically, in any real language, some words are super common, and most are rare. Voynich does that too. And a forger in the 1400s would have had absolutely no way of knowing about these statistical laws to fake it.
That leads us to door number 2, the cipher theory. The idea here is that Voynich isn't a language at all. It's just a mask. Underneath, there's a real language, maybe Latin, maybe Italian, that's been scrambled up using some kind of cryptographic system. The author just followed a set of rules, an algorithm, to turn their normal message into the weird script we see on the page.
But you might be thinking, could someone in the 15th century really make a code that complex? Well, researchers have shown that, yeah, it's actually plausible. There was a system called the Naibze cipher that you could do by hand using stuff like dice and playing cards. It lets you create incredibly complex ciphertext that, wouldn't you know it, has a lot of the same weird statistical quirks as the Voynich manuscript. So the cipher theory is definitely still in the running.
But then we have the third theory, that it's a real language. And honestly, this one has some of the strongest evidence behind it. A major study looked at the manuscript using something called information theory. What they found was that the words aren't just random gibberish, they're organized. Certain words show up in certain sections, just like you'd expect the word petal to be in a chapter about plants, but not one about stars. The conclusion from these scientists is basically that the text has all the complex hallmarks of a genuine language.
So, with the best human minds basically hitting a brick wall for a century, it was only a matter of time before we sicked our newest, most powerful tool on the problem: artificial intelligence. I mean, if there's a pattern in there somewhere, a machine learning algorithm should be able to find it, right?
And for a minute there, in 2018, it looked like it worked. There was this huge flash of excitement. Researchers in Canada announced that their AI had made a breakthrough. After chewing through hundreds of languages, the AI flagged ancient Hebrew as the most likely match. The team thought it might be a type of cipher called an alphagram, where you basically jumbled the letters of each word alphabetically.
And this is what it spit out, the supposed first sentence of the Voynich Manuscript. Now, it's weird, right? The grammar's all clunky. But it's also kind of coherent. It's tantalizing. This made headlines all over the globe. People were asking, did an AI just crack the 600-year-old code?
Well, now, pretty much immediately the academic world pumped the brakes hard. The fatal flaw was that the researchers, instead of running their results by actual Hebrew scholars, had used Google Translate to check their work. And it really taught us a crucial lesson. Just because an AI can find a pattern doesn't mean it understands what that pattern means. It didn't have the historical or linguistic context to know if its translation made any real-world sense.
So while the AI might have stumbled, human experts haven't given up. In fact, they've been making some really profound, if quiet, breakthroughs using a mix of new tech and good old-fashioned detective work. And the focus has started to shift from just the text to the physical book itself.
And this discovery? It's a total game changer. By not just looking at the words, but at the actual ink strokes, the handwriting, a paleographer named Dr. Lisa Fadgen-Davis has identified at least 5 distinct, separate scribes who worked on this manuscript. 5. Think about what that means. This book wasn't the work of one single person, some lone genius or madman. It was a group project, and that opens up so many new questions. Were they writing in different dialects? Maybe even different languages entirely? She also found the pages are probably all mixed up, not in their original order. And, get this, using special imaging, she found a faded note in the margin. It looks like an attempt at a key, probably written by that 17th century owner who's trying to crack the code himself.
So, after all this, why do we still care so much? Why does a 600-year-old book that nobody can read still have such a powerful grip on our imagination? I think it's because it's more than just a puzzle. It's like a mirror. It reflects our own endless need to know, our own curiosity.
And that obsession is very, very real. Just in 2024, the digital version of the manuscript at Yale was searched for over 150,000 times. It's one of their most popular items. This is a mystery that has basically gone viral for 6 centuries, and it just keeps getting bigger.
And that kind of brings us to a final thought. The fact that this book resists all our best technology, all our best minds, that's not a failure. It's a reminder. It reminds us that some puzzles require more than just raw data and processing power. They require intuition, imagination, and just being okay with not knowing. In a world that's rushing to have an answer for everything, the Voynich Manuscript shows us there's a deep and very human value in a great mystery that lasts.